Have you ever, in the middle of a conversation, in a crowded room, or while answering a text message almost instantly, and had a chilling question sneak into your mind? Is my presence cheap? It's not an arrogant thought. It's a quiet confession, a deep, unsettling feeling that your kindness, your willingness, your constant being there for everyone has inadvertently diluted your own value, like a rare artifact that, once mass-produced, loses its specialness. We rush to reply. We cancel our plans to fit into theirs. We say yes while our throat constricts around a silent no. We do it because we think it's the right thing to do. It's how to be liked, to be needed, to be accepted. But what if that was a miscalculation? What if we have confused giving with giving ourselves away? We often resent the world for not valuing us, but we rarely dare to face a much more uncomfortable truth. We are the ones who have taught them our price. By offering our attention for free, we have put a price tag of 0 on our own peace. This is not a lecture about setting boundaries. This is an invitation to look deeper, to understand the invisible psychological machinery, the kind the psychologist Carl Jung spent his life uncovering, that is driving these actions, and that is costing you everything. And that exhaustion, it has a name. It's the feeling when you realize you have stopped being a person and have become a mirror, a perfect mirror, always polished, always ready. A mirror not for you to look into, but for others. You reflect their greatness when they need to feel powerful. You reflect their innocence when they need someone to blame. You reflect safety, wisdom, humor, whatever they need to feel whole in that moment. You know that friend, the one who has you on speed dial whenever their world falls apart. The phone rings, and you know you're about to receive an hour-long monologue about the injustices they've suffered, the bad decisions they've made, their pain. You listen, you nod, you offer advice you know they will never take. And then, when the storm inside them has passed, when your energy has been transferred to them, there is a pause. The call ends. Not a single question in return. Not a moment for you. Thanks, you're the best. And you put the phone down, feeling emptier than before you picked it up. The mirror has done its job. It is put back into storage, awaiting the next performance. But what happens when a mirror gets tired of merely reflecting? This is where we must be radically honest. That behavior in them, it's often not malicious. It's more primitive than that. It is a psychological defense mechanism, one of Jung's most profound concepts, projection. Imagine a person's mind is like an old movie projector. Inside it are countless film reels, secret fears, unacknowledged desires, the good and bad qualities they cannot face in themselves. And you? You are the perfect white screen, always there, always smooth, always ready. So, they turn on the projector. They are not actually seeing you. They are seeing the image of themselves projected onto you. When they call you too sensitive, perhaps they are projecting the vulnerability they deny in themselves. When they need you to be strong, it's because they are projecting the strength they wish they had. You have become the stage for their internal theater. And here is the key. This is the truth that will set you free. When you decide to no longer be there, when you stop answering, when you choose absence, you are not simply disappearing. You are pulling up the screen. Suddenly, their movie has nowhere to play. It shines into the empty air. For the first time, they are forced to look at the light and shadow coming from their own projector. They are forced to see what is truly theirs. Their panic when you withdraw is not because they miss you. It's because for the first time, they have to watch their own movie. So, we understand them. We understand their projector. But that's only half of the story. The other half, the harder half, is a question we must ask ourselves. Why do we volunteer to be their screen? Why do we say yes when every cell in our body, every primal instinct is screaming no? You know the feeling. That tightening in your chest as you type a message of agreement while your mind is protesting. That dryness in your throat just before you utter a promise you know will corrode your soul. It's almost an out-of-body experience. You watch yourself agree to things that hurt you, and you can't understand why. The reason, in a word, is fear. Not physical fear, but a deeper social fear. The fear of being labeled selfish, cold, difficult, unkind, a bad person. We are more terrified of the ghosts of those words than we are of our own exhaustion. We have been taught that our value lies in our agreeableness. That being a good person is synonymous with never causing friction, never refusing. And so, we make a silent trade every single day. We trade our peace for their approval. We sacrifice our boundaries on the altar of being liked. And that fear of being given those labels, is the very gateway to one of the deepest and most powerful territories in Jungian psychology. It is the realm of the shadow. The shadow is not evil. Do not make that mistake. The shadow is a repository. It's where you have stored all the parts of yourself that you were taught from a young age were unacceptable. Your anger, your assertiveness, your ability to say a clean no, your capacity to put your own needs first. All those things you fear being called selfish, cold, they are not who you are. They are the exiled residents of your shadow. They are the pieces of your power that you disowned in order to fit in, to be considered good. And here is the brutal truth. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you are not just pleasing someone else. You are making a pact with your own shadow. You are telling it, you stay in the dark. I don't need your power. I don't need your assertiveness. I would rather be an exhausted, nice person than a misunderstood whole one. By always pleasing everyone, you are not being kind. You are running. You are in a frantic sprint away from your own whole self. You are choosing the safe prison of approval over the terrifying wilderness of authenticity. But it is in that wilderness, as Jung knew, where all your power lies. So, how do you step into that wilderness? How do you reclaim the power you've disowned? The answer, paradoxically, does not lie in a grand action. It is not a fiery confrontation. It is not a speech. It begins with silence. Try it, just once. The next time a non-urgent request arrives, a text that demands your immediate attention, just wait. Don't answer. Put the phone down and observe. First, there will be a second text. You there? Then a question mark, and then it starts. The phone on your table begins to vibrate, an anxious, artificial heartbeat. Once, twice, the missed calls begin to stack up like silent accusations. And your brain, programmed for agreeableness, will whisper to you, see? They need me. They're worried about me. Our ego craves that story, that their panic is proof of their love. But is that the truth? Or is it the panic of an addict whose supply has just been cut off? The confusion of the puppeteer who realizes his strings have suddenly gone slack. Your silence exposes a brutal truth. Their dependence on your energy was not love. It was control. And your absence is the first act of taking that control back. The voice deepens, becoming analytical, as if sharing a secret. Because your silence is not empty. It is a strategic tool. It is active. It creates something incredibly powerful. A vacuum. Your absence creates an energy vacuum where you used to be. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does the human psyche. For years, they have grown accustomed to filling their own voids, their insecurities, their boredom, with your psychic energy. You were their endless supply, their free charging station. When you withdraw, the supply line is severed, and in the resounding emptiness you leave behind, they are left alone with their own emptiness. For the first time, they are forced to listen to the noise in their own head instead of the sound of your voice. They are forced to self-soothe their anxiety instead of borrowing your peace. This is not punishment. This is recalibration. Psychic energy, in the Jungian sense, is a finite resource. It is the fuel for your creativity, your joy, your own growth. And you have been allowing others to drill a pipeline directly into your reserves, letting them water their garden while your own soil goes dry. Your silence is the act of turning the valve, closing the pipeline. It's like dropping a single bead of black ink into a clear glass of water that is the relationship. The ink doesn't attack or destroy anything. It simply reveals the invisible currents, the power dynamics that were always there, hidden just beneath the surface. Your silence makes everything clear. And in that clarity, you begin to see that you do not have to scream to be heard. Your absence now carries more weight than any word you could ever say. But let's be perfectly clear. When you start to have weight, you create gravity. And not everyone will like the way their world begins to spin in your new orbit. Do not expect applause. Do not expect understanding. When you stop being the mirror, when you turn off the energy valve, when your silence begins to speak the truth, prepare for the backlash. And it will be intense. You will be called selfish. They will say, "You've changed," and they will not mean it as a compliment. They will recount all the times you were there for them, not in gratitude, but as evidence of your current betrayal. You never used to be like this. You have broken an unwritten contract. The contract that said you would always be there, small, to make them feel big. The contract that said you would always be the life raft, never your own ship. Your transformation is a threat to their old order, and the system will react to protect itself. This is the final storm before the calm. This is the test. The immune system of the old world is attacking you because it recognizes you as a new cell, a free cell, one that no longer plays by the old rules. The voice becomes steady, resolute, and inspiring. Most people break here. They retreat back into people-pleasing because they cannot stand the heat. But if you stand firm, if you endure the discomfort of being misunderstood, you will not just find peace. You are engaging in a sacred process, the process Carl Jung spent his life describing. He called it individuation. It is the journey of becoming an individual, an undivided whole. It is the process of shedding all the skins that are not yours, the expectations of your parents, the pressures of society, the roles you've played for friends. Shedding them, not with anger, but with courage, to discover the authentic, core self that was always there underneath it all. And Jung understood something most self-help philosophies miss. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is an act of aggression. It disrupts the comfort of the collective. It challenges the consensus. It forces those around you to confront their own inauthenticity. So the resistance you meet, the accusations, the alienation, that is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. They are mile markers. They are irrefutable proof that you are actually moving, that you are breaking out of the collective shadow and into your own light. Every criticism is a confirmation. Every feeling of loneliness is a sign of progress.